Hi everyone, it's Sintang Mayumi. I have 3 cards, one stamp set collaboration with my friend Cherryl today. The stamp set we choose this time is the Hero Arts Out of This World Christmas stamp set. I already went ahead and colored my images that I will be using on my cards. I used my zig markers to color the images on Bristol paper, and I also already fussy cut them with my detailed scissor. I'm using my Memento block marker to go along the white edges so it will look seamless. And I'm going to do this on all of the images that I fussy cut. I'm going to paint a galaxy background, and I'm going to use this background on 2 of my cards. I'm using B paper today. This watercolor paper is cold pressed 100% cotton paper. I like using 100% cotton when I paint galaxy background because it soaks a lot of water. I also like using arches for galaxy painting, but I save them on special project because they are expensive. I get my B paper and arches at Michael's, and I always use coupon whenever I buy them to save some money. I also like gouache paints when I paint galaxy background because they are more opaque than watercolors. I have this 6 color set that I got from Amazon, and I use primary red, primary yellow, primary blue, and ivory black. I will back and forth adding the colors on the paper and drying them until I achieve the look that I want. After I'm done with the painting, I will splatter some of the white paint, and I will add the paint on a small dish and add a few drops of the Hero Arts iridescent watercolor ink to add a little bit of shimmer to the splatters. I'm going to use toothbrush to get tiny flecks on the paper. I do the splattering in my bathtub so the paint doesn't go everywhere on my desk. And here is the galaxy background with the white splatters. I'm going to cut this in half with my Fiskars trimmer so I get 2 cards out of that background. I will die cut it with the largest die from Gina Marie Design Stitch Rectangle die set. Before we move on assembling the card front, I'm going to score my card base first, and my card base is heavyweight cardstock from Paper Tree Ink called Pure Poppy cardstock. And now we can adhere the images on the panel. I will pop up my 2 characters with foam tape and adhere the planets with glossy accents. And then I will cut the excess paper that is hanging off the edge. For the sentiment, I'm going to stamp the sentiments from the stamp set and emboss them with Wow Opaque Bright White embossing powder. I did emboss 2 more sentiments for the other cards as well to save me some time later. And the paper I'm using here is blue shimmery cardstock that I have in my stash. After I'm done with adding the powder on the sentiment, I will heat set that using my heat tool. I will cut the sentiments into little strips with my Fiskars trimmer. And now I can add the sentiment that says, I hope your Christmas is out of this world. And I'm popping them up and adhering them on the lower part of the panel. And now we can adhere our panel on our A2 size card base. I use strong double-sided tape and I'm removing the adhesive backing of the double-sided tape halfway so I can position it perfectly on my card base. So not all of the adhesive is going to stick to the card base all at once. So I have time to wiggle it around. I also add a little bit of liquid before I adhere it on the card base. For the inside of the card, I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says Merry Christmas with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And I'm also going to stamp the silhouette of Santa with reindeers in the sky. Let's move on to our second card. I again die cut this galaxy background with stitch rectangle die. And I also going to die cut the middle of the middle part of the panel with Fawn slide on over die. I'm going to secure the die with washi tape so it doesn't move when I run it through my die cutting machine. And now I'm going to put the pieces back in the circle, and I made sure the colors on the background align with the circles. And then I'm going to use post-it tape to tape them together. And then we can add our foam tape on the back of the panel. I also have my penny over there, and I'm going to use that for the sliding mechanism. I use the penny to guide me where to add my foam tape because I can't add the foam tape close to the penny because the penny needs the space around the circle to move freely. I will also double up my foam tape on the back of this panel. After I add the foam tape, we'll go ahead and remove the release paper and add this panel on our A2 size top folding card base. And we can now remove the post-it tape. We are going to adhere the ring circle back inside the circle on the panel with liquid glue to cover the card base so you can't see that white background from the card base. I thought it needed more foam tape on both sides of the circle, so I added a little bit more of the foam tape. And now for our sliding mechanism, I will add thin double strips of foam tape on the penny. And before I remove the release paper from the tape, I will run my powder tool on the sides of the foam tape, and this will help with the stickiness on the sides and the penny will slide freely. And then I added the Santa Claus on the penny, and then we'll go ahead and adhere our planet Earth in the middle using glossy accents. And then I will also add the sentiment strips on the lower part of the card with foam tape. For the inside of the card, I did the same thing with the first card. I stamped the Merry Christmas sentiment and the silhouette of Santa Claus with reindeers using VersaFine Onyx Black ink. For the third card, I die cut my blue shimmery panel with stitch rectangle die, and I'm going to use this stencil from Altinu called Warp Speed Stencil. I'm going to tape down my panel and stencil on top of the panel so it doesn't move when I'm adding the glitter snow. This alien's glitter snow is like the texture of the paste that everyone uses on stencil. I don't have the paste, and I have this glitter snow, so I'm just using what I have. I like this glitter snow because you can use it on almost anything. I use my palette knife to spread the glitter snow over the stencil, and I really like this palette knife because you can apply the glitter snow thinly on over the stencil, and then I will just scoop the extra back into the container. After I'm done with the stencil, I rinse it with warm water right away because you don't want the glitter snow dries on your stencil. I set the panel aside to dry for a few minutes, and when I know it's ready, I run my nail on the sides of the panel to remove and smooth out the glitter snow. Before we adhere the image and sentiment on the panel, we'll go ahead and adhere this panel on our A2 size card base. And again, I'm using strong double-sided tape and a little bit of glue on the back of this panel. And then we'll go ahead and adhere this on our white card base. After we adhere our panel on our card base, I'm going to adhere this Santa Claus in the middle of the card using foam tape, and we'll go ahead and add our sentiment, and we'll also pop up the sentiment, and then we'll add that on the lower part of the card. For the embellishment, I have these iridescent stars in my stash. I scattered them on the card, and I'm going to adhere them using glossy accents. For the inside of the card, I got smart on this third card. I finally used my plastic grid from Simon Says Stamp to align my sentiment perfectly in the middle. And then I'm going to uh, ink the sentiment with VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I'm also going to add the silhouette of Santa Claus with the reindeers, and also stamp in the inside of the card. And lastly, I added stardust stickles on all of the white part of the Santa Claus. And my cards are finished. These cards are so much fun to create. There will be links of the stuff I use and links of my friend Cheryl's video in my description box below, and see what she created using the stamp set. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you like today's cards, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.